Just a few minutes ago, the Ministry of Defense of the Russian Federation officially announced that the strategically important settlement of Razdolovka, located north of the city of Soledar, came under the full control of the Russian army. As a result of active hostilities, units of the southern group of troops liberated the strategically important settlement of Razdolovka, in the Bakhmut direction of the front, and occupied more advantageous heights along the combat contact line. In addition, Russian troops also defeated 8 airborne assault and mechanized brigades of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, the Russian military department reported. Commenting on the liberation of Razdolovka, war correspondents noted that Russian troops attacked this settlement in small groups from 2 directions at once, from the southwest and the east. It is reported that Russian combat aviation used about 200 aerial bombs of the Fab family during the operation to liberate this village. In addition, Russian troops also actively used the latest coalition SV self-propelled guns, with Krasnopol extended-range guided artillery shells. In general, the loss of the village of Razdolovka by the armed forces of Ukraine significantly worsened the situation of the Ukrainian army in the city of Seversk. Now, Russian troops have achieved the possibility of attacking this settlement from 3 directions at once. In addition to this, events are also rapidly developing in the northern part of the Kharkiv region. Ukrainian war correspondents confirmed that the commander-in-chief of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, General Alexander Syrsky, continues to transfer the best and most combat-ready battalions of the Ukrainian army to the area of the settlements of Lipsy and Volchansk. At the same time, even the Ukrainian telegram channels recognized the heavy losses of the armed forces of Ukraine in manpower. It is reported that such a large number of burials in military cemeteries of Ukraine were not even during the counteroffensive of the Ukrainian army in the summer of last year. Surprisingly, even some military experts from numerous Western think tanks admit that the Ukrainian army is losing about 2,000 soldiers and officers a day, along the entire combat contact line. At the same time, it is noted that as of June 28, 2024, the armed forces of Ukraine are suffering the highest losses in manpower, in the Kharkiv direction of the front. As it turned out, the Ukrainian army is losing about 500–700 soldiers a day, in the northern part of the Kharkiv region. In addition, Western experts admitted that Russian troops, by entering Volchansk and seizing border settlements in the northern part of the Kharkiv region, completely violated the plans of the Ukrainian General Staff. As it turned out, the Kiev regime and its NATO military advisors were planning a sudden seizure of the Russian city of Belgorod. In Kiev and the West, they hoped that the capture of this Russian border settlement by the armed forces of Ukraine would allow Vladimir Zelensky to begin negotiations with Moscow on the withdrawal of Russian troops from the Kherson, Zaporizhia, Donetsk, and Lugansk regions, in exchange for the return of Belgorod. However, as subsequent events have shown, Russia is acting ahead of the curve on a tactical and strategic level. The sudden offensive of Russian troops in the northern part of the Kharkiv region not only shocked the Ukrainian and NATO generals, but also forced the Kiev regime and its Western patrons to completely abandon the idea of capturing Belgorod. Against this backdrop, one gets the impression that the Russian General Staff knows in advance about all the next steps of the Ukrainian army and NATO forces. At the same time, Western experts continue to argue that the main goal of the Russian army is not the creation of a so-called buffer zone in the Kharkiv region, but access to the northern outskirts of the city of Kharkiv, with its subsequent encirclement. In addition, the press secretary of the grouping of the Armed Forces of Ukraine under the designation Kharkiv, Colonel Yuri Pak, admitted that as of June 29, the Ukrainian army had failed to turn the odds in its favor, in Volchansk and the area of the settlement of Lipsy. Furthermore, Yuripov also admitted that Russian troops still control the Volchansk aggregate plant. Brigadier General of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, Sergei Melnik, also spoiled the mood of Ukrainian and Western experts. According to him, a new hotspot has appeared in the Kharkiv direction of the front. As it turned out, Russian troops broke into the village of Sotnitsky Kazachok, located 60 kilometers west of the city of Volchansk. And judging by the reports of war correspondents, this settlement will also come under the full control of the Russian army in the coming days. Meanwhile, the Russian military has released unique footage of the destruction of the American multiple launch rocket system M270. The footage shows how a Russian reconnaissance drone discovered an American multiple launch rocket system in the area of the settlement of Shevchenkovo, Nikolayev region. It is reported that a Russian drone pursued an enemy missile system for 20-30 minutes, in order to identify the classified place for the deployment of this multiple launch rocket system. After the American missile system entered the hangar, a reconnaissance drone transmitted the exact coordinates of this classified object to the Russian military. And, literally 5 minutes later, a Russian Iskander-M ballistic missile hit and destroyed this secret hangar. Judging by the high power of the explosion, the detonation of ATACMS missiles also occurred. At the same time, it is worth noting that for all the time of hostilities, these are the first shots of the destruction of the American missile system M270. Before that, the Russian military had only posted videos on the internet showing the destruction of the HIMARS multiple launch rocket systems. In addition, representatives of the Russian military department confirmed that at the time of this missile attack, 22 Ukrainian military specialists and 3 US Army officers were in this hangar. It is reported that as a result of this missile attack, no one survived. Commenting on these shots, experts once again criticized the work of the Ukrainian and Western air defense systems. According to them, Russian drones and missiles move absolutely freely on the territory of Ukraine, which indicates that the air defense systems of this country are in a terrible state. Against this backdrop, experts admitted that the Ukrainian and Western military are not safe even 1,000 kilometers from the combat contact line.